Yeah, the call of wild's always bringing me home. Call of wild's always bringing me home. Call of wild's always bringing me home.
All right. Well, hello, wild ones. Welcome to another episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. I'm very excited to have my friend here, Nature Woman Tanya, as she goes on Instagram. Just Tanya with her friends, but after some technical issues, we're here. So, how are you doing today, Tanya? Thanks for being such a nice light and support while I was reaching out to tech support.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, this feels like such an honor. It's so nice. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's hilarious that there was all this tech issues now because, as I mentioned, I really sometimes feel like I look at technology and it breaks. Luckily, I have a partner and a husband who is very good at it, so I can just reach out to
Yes.
him.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm glad we figured it out. But I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm very glad that we connected through the Instagram sphere. And I just feel like you have such a beautiful, like fun-loving energy. So for people that don't know Tanya, her Instagram handle is nature with Tanya. And yeah, I love that like you promote like, I don't know, just being out in nature and also like connecting with ourselves, and there's just like a beautiful freedom about you. And when we were chatting before we started hosting the podcast, you said like a big journey for you was moving out from the city and reconnecting with yourself in the wilds in nature. So maybe if you want to like, dive into that a little bit. I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Sure, yeah. I mean, um, I guess it's been a journey and it will continue to be one. But I
Yeah.
definitely feel, um, yeah, the past 10 years I've really been, and the past 5 years more so, because that's when made the move in 2020 from city where I was living in Cape Town to a small coastal city because I'm in South Africa. Sorry for people who don't
Right.
know.
Right. Yes.
Maybe help with some context. So I'm in South
Yes.
Africa, and I lived in Cape Town in the city itself for many years, and I was a city girl. I worked in the city. I lived for the streets and the buzz and the traffic and the movement and everything. And just slowly but surely, it literally just felt like the mountains and the ocean was calling me. And it's funny because anyone who has seen images of Cape Town, Cape Town is surrounded by a lot of nature. Um, but I felt like I needed more. And
Mhm.
through various interesting pathways and opportunities and just blind trust, um, yeah, it happened so that in 2020, um, me, along with my partner and our animals, were able to move from the city to a smaller coastal village around 2 hours out of Cape Town. And yeah, just it changed everything in a
Yeah.
really good way.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's so interesting how COVID really like pushed so many of us to reconnect with like and find what's really healthy for us within nature and really help us to slow down, right? Because there is something kind of fun about the city in certain aspects.
mm,
Like I lived in New York City, like in the Brooklyn area for a couple of years, and there was something fun about it. But when nature calls to you, like
mm.
when you need to get out of the city, I think that there really is a calling. And I feel like there's a couple of different people that I've had conversations with about that really like resonates with them because they've done it too. It's like the exodus, like, okay, the wild is calling me to go back and live
Yeah,
closer there. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
yeah, absolutely. It very much felt like, I think I mentioned to you in our previous conversation, it really felt like the mountains and the ocean was just calling my name. And
Yeah.
I remember there was a time where I wasn't sure how it was going to happen, and feeling very um, very isolated and very just very sad in my deep inside that I was still in the city and not surrounded by just having a simpler life. And the
Yeah.
noise and everything just got to me. And I remember just like listening to um, the movie Into the Wild soundtrack with Eddie Vedder and all those beautiful songs, and just like
Yeah.
feeling very sorry for myself.
It's funny
Yeah,
how music can transport us, right? Like it's such a vehicle of like transportation. Like, I don't know, there are certain songs that
absolutely.
I'm like, okay, I actually need to be like out in nature and like listen to this. Like, you know,
Right?
the guitar, like the drums, like there's
Mm,
something about certain songs that are like, okay, I need to experience the sound of this in an environment that feels like it's up to listening to it.
yes, like that stage of a
Yeah.
mountain or the beach or a forest
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's nice that now, like, I feel like that's a really cool spot for you where you live in South Africa, that you're able to be by the mountains and by the water, right? Like, how cool is that?
no, it's amazing. It honestly is. It's been the best. I think it's my top three decisions that I've made in my life. But it is also fun to go back to Cape Town. And I was there,
Yeah.
I go back relatively, depending on various factors. Like I would go back, and I was there 2 weeks ago, and I went to walk in this forest, Newlands Forest, which
Mm,
is a very famous and well known and well traversed forest, part of the Table Mountain National Park in Cape Town. And this used to be my wild, that used to be my little spot to go to when I was still living in the city. And we would used to go running there in the mornings with our dogs, watching the sunrise. And over weekends, we would be hiking there. And it was so beautiful to be back there. Um, and I was alone, and I went on a, beautiful solo walk, and it was just so, so magical to
yeah.
to be back in that space, knowing so much has changed. And then there's this one specific tree that is just, it's like, oh, it's an amazing tree. And to just go back to this tree and just be in its presence is just so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really awesome too, right? Like when you have a familiar path, especially like within nature, and you kind of start
Mm,
recognizing, or like you remember, like the trees, or like maybe there's a certain bush or a certain
mm,
little like lake or pond area. And, it like it's one thing, it brings back a lot of memories and stuff. And then like it
mm.
brings back the connection that you had, like every time you go out into the wilderness and you're like, oh, that brings me back to every single time I've been in here trying to connect with this place. It's like the
Absolutely.
best. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
it. Also, for me, it's like you realize then how much you've changed, and also how much, obviously, the nature, the trees, the soil, the plants, the bushes, the animals, everything changes. And to kind of re-meet each other every time. It's quite special.
Yeah, I always, my
Mm,
favorite thing, like my favorite symbol is the spiral symbol, because we always go back to things in a
mm,
circular lens. Life isn't
mm, mm.
linear, and I don't think like the way that we look at ourselves and how we move forward in life is linear either. I think we just come
No,
back to a lot of the same lessons and stuff. So it does kind of remind
absolutely.
me of that, like especially, I don't know if you guys get like fall or autumn by you? Like the leaves
Yes.
change. Okay. Oh,
Yes,
that's
no, we do.
nice. Yeah,
We get
because
all the
all the
seasons, and sometimes we
seasons.
get them all in one day, especially where I
Wow.
live now. Yes.
Wow, that's special.
Yeah, but no, we do. We have autumn, so.
Yeah, okay, cool. I
Mm.
didn't know if that was like because you some places like they have winter like most of the time, but there's
No, for
something
real.
too
Some
about
some
going
don't.
something, yeah, some don't. But there's something about
Um,
also when you go to a place that has a change of seasons as well,
mm,
and you notice that like some things stay the same and then other things change. And I actually
Mm.
was like thinking about that the other day, like while I was out, like, taking my walk looking for otters. I know that's what we joke about now if people
Yes,
follow
the
me on
otters.
Instagram. Yeah.
How are the otters?
I have not seen any yet, but
Oh,
I'll get there. If not, I don't know when, but it wasn't looking great when the guy from the place that I met, he works there, and he was like, "Yeah, I've worked here for 6 years and I've actually seen them only twice." So,
ooh,
not looking great on my part, but I'm
not
just gonna
looking
keep
great.
trying.
No, but persistence,
Yes.
you know, we
Yeah.
persevere. You will see them.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But being in South Africa and like you have such beautiful landscapes and like you were saying you're like mountain and beach, like what are the kinds of like animals and wildlife you get to see by you?
Oh, I mean, contrary to popular belief, still, I don't have, you know, a lot of wild animals in my backyard. Um, but no, to be serious, I also have otters. We have sea otters, or
Oh,
clawed otters. And I've also seen them about twice in the 5 years that I've lived here.
oh wow.
The
Yeah,
one time I saw them scurrying across the beach path because they live in the bushes, but then they go and eat, clams and all kinds of sea creatures that they find in the rock
right.
pools. And so I've seen them. That was the one time I saw them, and the other time I was very, very fortunate to be. I was in the water swimming, and then the next moment, a little head like popped up next to me.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
next to me, like a little while from me, but still
Yeah.
close enough that I could go like, oh my gosh, there's an otter next to me. Um, yeah, that was pretty
Wow.
beautiful and cool.
Yeah.
We have a lot of baboons in the area that I live. So in the mountainous areas, in the coastal sort of towns here, there's a lot of baboons, a lot
Wow.
of a lot of birds of prey, small and quite large.
Wow.
There's a lot of dassies. What do you call a dassie in English? Um, dassies are they're this. It's
Is it a
like
type of
a
bird?
no, no, no. It's kind of like a really big rat crossed with a hamster.
Okay, so kind of like some sort of like a rodent-ish type
Yes,
of
yes,
animal.
a
Okay, cool.
mammal, rodent. Yes. So they also live on the rocks by the sea. Um, and a lot of, yeah, bird life. Obviously, in the ocean is filled with life. We are, at the moment, the town where I live, we have whale season. So the whales from Antarctica actually come all the way here, the southern rights, to have their babies. So we've got lots of whales in the town at the moment. They are like if you go for a walk along the beach, they you will see one. It's
Wow,
so
that's
amazing,
so
and there's lots of
incredible.
dolphins. So there's a lot of life in the ocean if you are able to. Also, if you're able, obviously, to go a bit further in on a boat or a sea kayak, then you're able to see more. Um, yeah, those are kind of
That's
the main
that's so
ones.
cool. Yeah,
Mm.
that's
So
really
there is a
cool
lot of
because
life.
yeah, it's funny coming from me. Like, I live in the Northeast United States and specifically on Long
Hmm.
Island. So there's not like a ton of cool animals, even though like I've come to appreciate them a lot. Like, but it goes to like deer, different types of birds,
Mm,
squirrels,
mm.
chipmunks. Like those are kind of like what we have. So it's cool
Yeah.
to hear you say, yeah, there's baboons around, you know.
No, there
Like
are.
they're common here. Like that's really
Yeah.
it's like cool, like what
No,
the
like
different type of
yeah. I mean, I was
animals
in the
like.
mountains yesterday, and we're walking with our dogs, and you kind of have to. I mean, there's been times where we've gone hiking in the mountains with our dogs where we had to turn around because the baboons were just kind of blocking the path and not
Oh,
letting us
yeah.
through. So like yesterday, it's also like Okay, we're not seeing anything, we're not hearing anything. We see a lot of poop, so they've been here, but
Right.
but it's not that fresh. So there you see, it's the poop thing again.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel we've talked about animal poop as well. And then you're like looking at
I
the
know.
poop, how fresh is this? And then going, no, we're good, let's continue.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah.
But it's such a smart thing, especially if like you're worried about the safety for like you and your pets, like,
No,
for your
of course.
family.
Mm,
Like it's like, hey, you know what? There is actually like kind of like a point with like noticing the poop around you.
exactly.
My
Seeing how fresh
husband
it is.
thinks it's so ridiculous. Like I told him the other day, I was like, I don't know how many times he's heard me say, "Well, I think I found otter tracks, or at least I found some sort of tracks." And I was like,
Yeah.
"I definitely saw otter poop." And he's like, "Of course you did. Of course you saw otter poop, and you're telling me about it." It's so
Oh,
funny.
that's hilarious.
But that's really cool. I
Uh,
love that. It's just cool to see what's native to other people, right? Like what like you have
mm,
to like be used to on your trails and everything like that.
no, for
But yeah,
sure.
it's
Because
cool that you're in the
I'm hearing you say deer, and I'm like, oh my word, that's amazing. So
Yes, right. The grass is always the greener on the other side, right?
mm,
But yeah, I'd love to go back a little bit to when you did first move back out to the mountains, like,
mm,
and I saw a post the other day and you were talking about embodiment, and I think it's like one of the most important things that, we could do. And I think especially for me getting older, like there's something about like going out into the woods and trying to do things that are,
mm,
embracing my body. I spent a lot of time when I was younger, I think, like just being like obsessed with like visualizing like, being in like higher realms or something like that. But I think the older I get, the more I'm actually more appreciative of like my earthly body and embodying it. So
mm,
what were some of like the differences that like you felt like physically when you moved back out and closer to nature?
mm. Sure. What a beautiful question. I think just trusting my body more, trusting
Yeah.
myself more, um, realizing the big shift, I think, was to realize that to come back to the kind of concept where everything is alive,
Hmm.
and appreciating everything. The rocks, the flowers, the trees, the mountains, obviously the animals, that's an obvious one, but all the
Right.
things that so many people just take as inanimate objects or just things.
Right.
For me, everything is alive, everything has a soul, or some kind of mm, life. And to
Yeah.
really appreciate that, the way that I used to as a little girl, as a child. I think, I mean, you mentioned spiral, and for me,
Yeah.
it's really I've gone. I had my Oprah full circle moment. It really feels like I'm back to. Um, it was a homecoming. It was a me coming back to who I was before the world. There's that quote. Before the world tells you, what you should be and how you should look and what you should be doing. It was
Yeah.
really that for me. Um, really coming back to myself and appreciating then my body and what it can do and how strong it can be and how soft it can be. And regardless of what it looks like on the outside, um, to really just feel deeply. I think that's really what it brought me back to. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, right? Like it's almost
Mm,
like it being out in nature helps you to slow down more, right? And like I think that
mm,
being in the city, like, and I think that this made a lot of sense to me too when I finally like moved, closer to, in the suburbs, but still closer to nature in general, is that
mm,
like slowing down is the biggest part because we're going so fast, we're missing our own natural body cues
mm,
that our body's trying to give to us. So I think that is such a
absolutely.
big thing. Yeah.
Mm, no, for sure. Slowing down. being able to, and consciously choosing to make my days. Obviously, I still work. There's still stuff that needs to
Of
happen, but
course.
it's almost like I was just able to breathe and
Yeah.
go, okay, what is really important? What do I want to spend my time doing? Who do I want to spend my time with? And how do I want to feel while I'm doing these things? Do I want to feel rushed? Do I want to feel, or do I want to feel, embody, you know, everything that I'm feeling, whether it's, good or bad? I try not to label things as good or bad, but that is the world that we live in, or what a lot of people
Right.
understand. So trying not to label things as being positive or negative, but just to notice and be with
Yeah.
it and be okay with it. And yeah, but really the slowing down and then the living with the seasons and noticing the things, that's another, it comes back to the spiral and the cyclical nature of us as humans who are nature, because that's the other thing that it really, that hit home for me was, that we are nature. And that is the big thing that I think most people forget. Um,
Yeah.
we think we have to rule over nature, and but we're part of that. It's all the same. We're all the same. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
so that,
exactly. And like, even I totally resonate with the fact that like I believe even down to like the a simple rock, right? Like
mm,
has a deep place and helpfulness and meaning within nature, right? And
absolutely.
that rock could be formed like thousands of years ago through,
Mm,
pressure or whatever. Like there's a story
mm,
even behind just a rock on the ground. So
mm,
and I think that also, getting back to nature, I think that there's why, people are so like kind of like uptight now in like this modern world is because it's so fast paced. Like we said, we're kind of
mm,
not listening to our own bodies senses, but I think that there's also like a huge aspect of being able to accept things within nature, like you were talking about how people see things as black and white, but like nature is just like
mm,
a huge gray zone, and
mm,
I think it like helps to accept other people too, like and realizing
yeah,
how complex that people are. Nature is super complex, like nothing is just
mm,
as simple as black and white, and helping
yeah,
to embrace people for maybe how they're able to be in the moment. It depends,
mm,
but like I think that the more we kind of learn to hopefully see each other or like see what somebody else is going through, I think that could really
mm.
help, heal a lot of people.
No, definitely. Because I mean, I think also, I thought of now when you were saying that we live in such a, most of us live in such a polished world, and everything is so straight lines and, like you said, black or white, yes or no, good and bad, and all these things. And there's just the gray is where it's at, that's, there's
Yeah.
so many, there's so many different beautiful shades in this world and in this life and outside and in us, inside us as humans and in the human experience. And to just go, this is, there's two sides, and either you're on the right side or the wrong side. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think that's where a lot
absolutely.
of people lose, um, then they lose touch with themselves, and they lose touch with their place in the wider, the bigger picture.
Yep. Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely. I think the more that we can like realize that life is in the gray area, I think that we won't. There's also too about like having expectations of people to like reach your standard for like the black and white,
mm, mm.
But yeah, like I think that it goes back to like embodying, and I love that like you also do you work with like I saw you post something about nettle, was it nettle or
Oh,
like you use all different
yeah.
types of like plants to like help, yeah, I would love to hear more about that too.
Oh, okay. So I have a very big love affair with nettle. Um,
Nettle, that's
And
what it was.
it's
Yes.
yes, yes, nettle specifically, but other plants as well, but nettle specifically. So I do various things and I dabble in a few things from a work perspective. And a few years ago, I met this amazing woman who started a business with plant allies, with plant medicine, such as nettle, hibiscus, red clover, all these beautiful, beautiful plants. Um, and she was selling them as the dried plants, and then
Mhm.
educating about obviously their benefits and how to make infusions at home. And I went to some of her workshops and we became friends, and we're actually starting to work together now a little bit, and from next year onwards there'll be quite a bit more of that in my life, which I'm very excited
Wonderful.
about. But yes, I mean, I've just discovered, I mean, that's the other thing with realizing that nature provides us with everything. You know, there's
Yeah,
a plant for everything. And I am on a very, very slow journey of sort of learning, all these things and what a beautiful medicine plants are. Um, and the incredible gifts that it gives us. So yes, I drink nettle infusions like every day. And
it's awesome.
various other ones, and I've become like, it's a bit of a joke, and it's almost I'm still stepping into that role because like a friend was came to me this morning who lives down the road, and she's like, okay, I've been feeling like this and this, and I'm like, okay, like this is what I can give you. Take a little bit of nettle, maybe drink some of this, do this with some lavender, make this
I love that.
concoction. So kind of, yeah,
That's
playing
very
around with
cool.
plants a lot. And
Yeah,
just
like botany. Yeah.
the
That's
medicinal properties of the plants that are surrounding us. It's
that's very
incredible.
cool.
And mm.
Is that a plant that grows near you, or is that something like you order to like then have? Like I'm not
So
familiar.
I've got a few nettle plants in my little veggie patch outside that I got some from a friend who had them in her garden in the town where I live. And then there's quite a few, like, I mean, some of the sort of dried products that Wild Nettle sells comes from, most of it comes from the Western Cape area in South Africa.
Very
So
cool.
it is a plant that does live and thrive here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Very cool.
yeah.
And what are some of the benefits that you use nettle for that like you're like, okay, this is like my go-to to use for when I'm feeling this
Um,
way.
so the big thing with nettle is it's sustained energy. And
Mhm.
it also provides you with, it's good for, I mean, it's good for so many things. It's delicious. I remember the first time I drank it, I literally felt like my cells were telling me like this is what's been missing in my life, like it
Wow.
wakes, it literally like feels like it wakes up your whole body from the inside out, like every tiny little cell going like yay, this is so yummy. um
Yeah.
but sustained energy, I mean, that's definitely something that I've noticed from a benefit of drinking it. And then it's really good for just everything on the inside, gut, also skin, hair. Um, it's just
Wow.
such nourishment. It's like bone deep nourishment. That's, yeah, how I can
That's
describe
awesome.
it.
That's really
Mm,
cool. Yeah, cuz like I'm so good with animals, but like I feel like I'm always that's like that might be like my next path is to try to get a little bit more into like botany or at least like reading more about plants cuz plants I feel like we're
mm,
always a little bit out of my sphere of like understanding or like really grasping really well. Like there's some people that are just so good at it and can tell you all the different things.
mm.
That might be kind of that might relate to the fact that I'm not like the best cook either. So
No, but
yeah,
it's like a whole other world. It's quite intimidating. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just stepping very lightly
just
into
stepping.
it. And there's a
Yeah.
few plants and like and it's more sort of the I've got a really big rosemary bush outside, growing outside my garden. So it's like, okay, what can I do with that? What is that good for? And really going back to, although, as some people would say, the old wives sort of remedies and those types of things, because that's the real medicine. I try not
Yeah.
to take any actual medicine. So
Right.
there's so much available for us if we just know how to use it. Um,
Right.
and also the big thing with plants, obviously, compared to other things, is it's sustained use. You can't just
Right.
it's not a quick fix. And that's obviously going back to, what we were saying, where the society that so many people continue living in. You want quick fixes. That's the world that we live in. Immediate gratification and
Hmm.
quick fixes. And if you've got a headache, you want to take a pill and it's gone. Whereas if
Yeah.
you maybe sip on some rosemary tea, it might take a little bit longer, but obviously there's a time and place for medication. But I
Sure.
think
Of
there's so
course.
much to explore, when it comes to plants and what it can do for us and what so many people have forgotten.
Hello, wild ones. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. I have some exciting news. This April 2026, me and Dr. Carla Ionescu are taking a couple of lucky people to Greece this year. It is going to be about the goddess Artemis. So all about the goddess of the wilderness, the forest. We're going to be doing amazing things like exploring her ancient sites where she's worshipped, like Broron and Eleusis, Patras, and a couple of other places, as well as doing archery and claymaking. So I hope that you're enjoying this episode. Check out the link in the description for more information, and we would love to see you there. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Hi, wild ones. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Find Your Wild podcast. This episode is sponsored by my clothing brand, Femme Sauvage, and you can find a discount code and link in the description. So check it out. We have a lot of amazing designs, and $5 of the proceeds goes to different charities. So please feel free to check it out and enjoy the rest of the episode. Thanks so much. Yeah, and like, I think that's like such a good point, right? Like there's a time and a place. And like I'm,
Mm.
if you need like bigger help, then it's great that we have science that's available, that they know what
No,
they're
for
doing and
sure.
everything like.
Yeah.
But if you don't have to, like if you can like hopefully fuel your body with like natural stuff to like really
Mm.
balance it out, and then right, it's like the overuse of something, like to have like the balance of like, okay, I'm only
Yeah.
going to use this like really when I need it. Like I find myself
Mm.
now, even if I'm like, if I have something that's a little sore or like whatever, I really like
Mm.
take a step back. I'm like, all right, do I need to take this right now? Or can I maybe like just sleep it off? Or,
Yeah.
like to try to balance it out. Cause it's always like, if you take too much, then it's going to give you a stomach ache. So it's kind of like a catch
Mm.
22 with a lot of these things, right? Like you take one
Yeah.
thing, but then it's going to kind of give you a issue with something else. So
Mm.
hopefully, like with like the natural stuff, like if you have an upset stomach, like I love peppermint tea. That's a really good one for
Mm.
me if you're feeling like kind of
Yes.
nauseous or something like
Mm.
that. Yeah, my friend, actually, I had him on the podcast like a little while ago, but he has a tea company in India, and
Mm.
he's from India, and he works with Indian farmers to try to help all the different like animals that are kind of like affected in that area by like the tea farms and everything like that. And he
Oh,
tries
wow.
to like pay them the right amount so that they can help their families, and then in turn
Mm.
kind of protect the wild animals and help them stay wild. But like all of the stuff is like super organic,
Mm.
very fresh, like freeze dried, and it's like
Mm.
some of the
Mm.
best tea I've ever had. It's like amazing. It's
Oh,
called
wow.
Teas for Wildlife. So I would definitely like
Oh, I
recommend it.
love
But
that.
yeah, I've had some of his ginger tea a couple of times, and the ginger that's in there is so amazing. It like anytime
Mm.
I feel a cold or like a cough or
Mm.
something and I have that, it's like it really works. I'm like, all right, I got to get to this tea immediately because I know it's going to open me up, you know?
Oh, I love that. I love that. Love a good
Yeah.
ginger. Like you can never, no, you can't
Yes.
have too much ginger, but a good ginger. Oh.
Yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I know another thing that you do, which I always find very interesting. I think I would be interested in learning more and pursuing that. But you also do Reiki too, right?
Yes, I do. It's yes, that's also been a very interesting path. It felt mm, like it just, I've been interested in it for a while, and there was a Reiki master who was living in a nearby town where
Mm-hmm.
I am, and I knew about her, and I knew that I wanted to study with her, but you know, we were kind of talking for maybe a year, and every time she started a new intake, there was something that I couldn't, there was something that was happening, or I was away for that weekend, or I was too busy with other things. There was always some hurdle, and I was just like, it will happen when the time is right. And then when the time was right, sure, it felt like, I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but again, it felt like a remembering. It didn't feel like I was almost new to the work that I was being taught. It felt like it was innate knowledge that I was just like that someone was just kind of peeling a
Remembering.
layer off and going, you see, you've known this all along, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's been a really beautiful journey for me. It's been empowering, humbling, just really, really beautiful. Um, it's an incredible, it's an incredible path. It's incredible, incredible wisdom. Um, and it's really something that I'm slowly starting to explore with clients, and yeah, opened up a small little practice. So I see,
How amazing.
some people every now and then. At the moment, I'm doing quite a few, sort of juggling quite a few hats, so to say, from a work perspective. But hopefully from next year, I
Yeah.
will be able to have more time to see more clients for Reiki in person. And it's just been an incredible, incredible journey, and I'm loving it. And again, it's like with the plants, still learning, still
Yeah.
developing. I don't think with any of these things you can ever say, okay, I'm done now. Thank you.
You're
Um,
always learning. I'm a lifelong
always.
student. Yeah, like always. There's always
Exactly.
things you can learn. I'm never gonna learn enough, you know?
No,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's such interesting things, you just want to learn more. It's like, I wish I had more time
Yeah.
in a day, that I could just do
A
this
hundred
quickly, or
percent.
learn this, or read this, or watch like this 5 more videos of this topic,
Yeah.
to be able to learn more. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe for people that don't know what like Reiki is, if you want to give like a brief description, because I think sometimes it's hard for me to like necessarily explain, but I think it's the coolest thing.
So I mean, it's energy healing, and you are
Yeah.
tapping into, and you're not using your own energy. So it's not like I am the healer or the practitioner is the healer. You are tapping into universal energy, universal life force, and you are basically just a channel. And I've experienced, you know, amazing, amazing things by being the client, and also vice versa. I've had amazing feedback from people who I have been incredibly fortunate and humbled to have, practiced on and had for a Reiki session, and it's been, phew, it's powerful stuff,
Yeah.
and it's really also not, it's so much bigger. If we've got um a few of us, because a few of my friends then ended up also, going, studying, doing the course, um doing up until level 2 or level 3 a Reiki, and not all of them are practicing. A lot of people just do it for themselves so that they can heal and help themselves or their children. I've had beautiful conversations with women in my area who, they wanted to be able to help their children. So that's why they went to go and study this. So it's so beautiful. But at the same time, um, oh, so sorry, I'm interrupting myself. So we created this little WhatsApp group for all the Reiki practitioners in our area. And then every time there's something, it really just connects people in a really beautiful way. If someone's maybe feeling ill and they're needing some assistance, then we can all kind of channel that energy and help them. And there's also been instances where we would be able to help nature. There's been a wildfire, not a little bit out from where I live, about an hour's drive. And, the woman who lives close to where the fire is, she would say, can we all just maybe get together at a certain time wherever you are and just send some Reiki energies, so that this fire does what it's supposed to do, because obviously we also need fire. The plants need fire to be able to rejuvenate, but we also need to protect the homes and the animals and a lot of the nature. So it's
Right. A
it's
balance.
also
Yeah.
such a multifaceted, really beautiful practice that just really connects people and connects you to the bigger picture. I think that's what it really brought home for me again, that we are not we might think that we're these individual beings above everything else, but we're so connected. And if we just use that power and that energy for good, we can literally, move mountains. So it's quite.
Yeah. It's so beautiful, right? And it's like, again, I love how all of these kind of things that you've been interested in since kind of like your journey to the mountains are all about kind of like slowing down and like focusing and much more intentional and connected, right? Like even, your like viewing of the plants and the Reiki is like about like slowing down and connection and energy, right? Like it's a really beautiful thing that people are taking the time to focus their energy on. Like I really hope that the like, and there has been like studies, right, with like prayer and like like energy focus. So like that's why I feel like Reiki is very interesting to me, is like that energy focus of like our thoughts and like how powerful they are, right? Like that's why manifesting I feel like is such a big thing. But
Yes.
I think that it's a good thing to think about like in connection with action, right? Like we have to balance, like everything is all about balance too. So I'm sure like with your
Yes.
Reiki work, like do you like go over certain areas and then like be like, okay, hopefully now maybe like your movement's going to be a little bit easier, or like that moved through some of the emotion that was maybe stuck there, right? It's like again about a lot of like movement of the energy. Like when energy is stuck, it's usually not great.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I've had big, and even with myself, like you can, and it is really about getting still, being present, being focused, which are all things that are easier said than done, obviously.
Of course. Yeah.
But, but to really, it's amazing what you can feel if you just focus. Um, and if you just tune in to a different frequency, and you can move, you can feel energy moving. And it's always so interesting to then talk to the client afterwards, talk to the person who I've been treating afterwards, and they will say, you know, what were you doing when, for example, my chest, I could literally feel something like there was pressure on my chest and it lifted. So they would physically feel it and I would feel it too. But, you don't want to lead them on. So you would want them to kind of speak first and
Right.
express what they have experienced. But it's amazing to be able to hear people say that, you were able to help them to move something so, you know, big, because
Right.
it's often big things, it's grief or it's self-doubt or there's so many things that so many of
Right.
us sit with, and also to just provide space for people to really relax and
Yeah.
to feel safe and to feel seen. I think that's also what it's about for me. And obviously, there's many different types of and schools and lineages of Reiki, but it's also to make it your own. And what I've found, especially with the people that have been coming to me, it's really they want to feel seen and heard. And yeah, and that's such a integral part of the human experience, that I think it's really important that we provide it for one another, especially in this world that so many people still are so rushed, like we said earlier,
Yeah.
and live so in silos, live so without community or connection, perhaps, and are just kind of ticking boxes through a day, through a week, through a month, through a year, and not really connecting with themselves. That might be the first little spark that they can reconnect with themselves in some shape or form. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because I actually was really focusing on doing work, my shadow work. I had a shadow coach.
Mm,
So it
mm,
reminds me very much of this in the sense that like I would say to her things that maybe I was self-conscious about or, like reflecting on. And then she was kind of like my mirror and would be like, oh, but does this make you feel like this? And it was something that like sometimes when you're stuck in your own head, it kind of really helps, whether it's like Reiki or a shadow
mm,
coach, somebody to help you look from like the outside, but like they're more just like you
mm,
said, they're guiding you, right? Like for you to see
mm,
it yourself and be able to recognize it. And she would like prompt me like, how does this make you feel? Or how does I'm like, oh, actually, I would have never seen it like that had you not like brought it to my
mm,
attention or worded it that or like, and it was things that I kind of came up to like on my own volition, but like she just guided me so gently into that
mm.
direction. But
Yeah.
it's all very similar, right? Like even with the Reiki, like you saying like you like lifting a piece of being able to slow, it's all connected to like being able to slow down enough to notice that there's something building up. Like if you don't go into like the
Mm,
dark
mm,
crevices and the shadows and the gray areas inside of yourself, I don't think you're going to know who you are. And then that also in
mm,
turn, like you maybe will lash out at people or you'll do this like when you're not focusing on yourself and like healing yourself, like you're not going to be able to integrate, with communities properly, right? Because like that's the thing that you built with your WhatsApp group with the Reiki is building this kind of like
mm.
community. And I think we talked about that. I talked about that on another podcast like fairly recently, maybe like a couple months ago about and she does family constellation work. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before.
Yes,
Yeah, with horses as well. And
yes.
a lot of what she was talking about is like going back to this place of like community. Like we're supposed to not,
Mm,
and that's the other thing about the modern world is we're all focused on doing things more of ourselves, right? And do like being
mm,
more self-tasked and then instead of leaning on community and I think it really helps when you have somebody else to be like, "Oh, I'm here for you. I'm listening to you." And like I don't know, it
mm,
really helps heal. Like when somebody else is like, oh, I see you, like that's valid. Like I understand. There's nothing that's
mm, mm.
more connecting or healing than to be able to have that from a community space.
Oh, no, absolutely. I resonate very much with everything that you've said. Um, I think for me, yeah, I mean, the community thing also, that's another thing when, not that we didn't have or that I didn't have community and friends and so on
Sure.
when I lived in the city. Of course I did. But moving out of the city and into a new space, also it just opened up so many beautiful doors to such an incredible community, which has also deeply, deeply impacted me, and given me incredible lessons and opportunities and experiences in the past few years. And what you touch, just to touch on what you were talking about, shadow work, I'm also a part of a women's circle, um, and I mean, shadow work is big thing that we do there. And my partner, he's also part of a men's circle, and
It's
the
beautiful.
changes that we've seen in each other and in our relationship and in just every facet of all our relationships, with be it our parents, our siblings, our friends, our people that we work with, there is, it's incredible. I think it should be it should be a, a must do for all humans to be on earth, to
To
to do
have
some
little
form of
community
shadow work.
groups. Yeah, and it's
Yes.
really, there's a safety in being surrounded, right, by like by women, like if like you're a woman, or like a man if you're a man. Like I think
Mm,
that there's something like really healing. I think especially, especially for men, right? Like it's so nice that your husband has a space to be able to have that. And for us as women, like everybody just needs
mm,
that space where um they're going to relate to you probably in a different way than your husband or somebody else is going to relate to you. And I think it's just good to
yeah.
have outside support. Like you need that. And again, like that community connection.
No, 100%. It's like it's such a beautiful comfort and safety net to be able to have that. And I mean, especially like in our case, the women in our circle, we live such absolutely different lives. We all live in a small town or in a few small towns close to each other, but we live very different lives. But to be able to, it's that old thing of just listening to someone talk and then going, oh, you feel like this too sometimes. It's just that I think that is such a human need that we have, to be just able to go, oh, I'm not alone, because so
Mhm.
many people, I think, still go through life going, it's only me that has these feelings. But there is, it's so so much of what we think and experience on a daily basis is echoed in everyone around us. We just try to hide
Yeah.
it from each other, I think, often, because of shame, because of so many things, because of our pasts. And to just be able to go, oh, I see you and you think like that too. That's amazing.
Right.
Let's talk
Yeah. I
about
think
it.
yeah, we're so afraid of
Mm,
being judged, right? I mean, I know me personally, like I
mm,
feel like that's like always
mm,
like the hardest thing. And I think that like sometimes like for me, like there's like a sisterhood wound that I have from like being bullied and stuff
mm,
growing up. So I think that like especially
mm,
for some people, like to be able to have that like kind of space where they know they're not going to be judged and again validated and heard, like how important that
yeah.
is and like how healing it is. And it's, I think it's such a beautiful thing, people coming from different walks of life and to be able to have friends from whatever, and then coming to a place where it's like, hey, I'm not going to judge you, we're all living different things. And
Mm,
it's funny how even in these different roles that we see each other in, we still feel very similar things still inside. It's cool
mm.
to be able to see that and to hold each other there.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity to just be and take off the masks, because all of us wear masks. I mean, even me, I'm like, I don't wear.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Everyone, we
Yes.
all do in some shape or form. And to
Yeah.
just be bare and human and
Yeah.
be accepted for that is so scary and beautiful and vulnerable, but that's what heals. That's what heals us. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, being able to
Mm,
accept one another and then not being afraid of judgment, because I think that that makes people very very like like you said, like takes like puts the mask on and separates us, and we
mm,
push each other away because we're afraid of that judgment. The more we can connect and help each other, it's I just think that would be just such a better step towards humanity if we all cared about each other so much.
mm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm.
well, Tanya, I feel like this was such a beautiful, beautiful conversation. I really wish we lived closer because I feel like we would have the most fun. Hopefully
The
one day I
most.
can go to, yes, I hope one day that we can, hopefully I can go to South Africa one day. I'm down to go anywhere in the world, so everywhere is on my bucket list. But
Well, come
look,
down here.
yes. And if you ever come to New York, you're more than welcome to come hang and stay with me.
Yes.
So yeah. So thank you
Oh,
so much again for being here and coming on, and let people know where they can find you, connect with you.
I mean, the easiest is just to go to Instagram, Nature Woman Tanya. All my details are there. Um, yeah, say hi,
Perfect. And
and if you like images of nature and just weird and wonderful things, then that's what you'll get.
yeah, I love your energy, and I love, how authentic and like yourself you are, and I think it's a powerful thing in this world, and you just have like such a bright
Mm.
light, which is why I wanted to connect with you. So yeah, I
Oh,
see
thank
it,
you so
and
much.
yeah. You're welcome. And thank you so much for taking the time to come on, and I appreciate your patience with the technical issues. So thank you. And
All good, all good. It's been such an honor. Thank you so much. I love your podcast. I'm so happy that I found it. And
oh,
I've
thank you.
really just been enjoying. I think I still have a lot of catching up to do because I listened to some of the old ones and then some of the new ones. So I'll catch up at some
Cool.
point in time, but I'm loving
I'm
it.
sure you can
It's
see how
such a
I've grown here and
beautiful,
there.
it's amazing. No, I love it. It's so cool.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you so much. And
Oh.
yeah, so hang on a second. I'll chat with you, but I'm just gonna thank you so much, Wild Ones, for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Revel in the moment like a river flowing to the sea. I feel the energy of life force flowing all through me.